What's up, Doc?
I'm Greg.
I'm Julie, and we're the Crafty Winers.
So I think it was Boise. We were walking through a grocery store and saw a bunch of Lakewood organic pure carrot juice that was
On clearance.
It was like 75% off. Can't imagine why. We thought, I wonder if you can make wine out of that, which we do with a lot of things. And it's been sitting on our floor for a few months. We thought we better probably get that made before it's not good anymore. Which
I didn't see it.
we got until 2026, but
we're good.
Why procrastinate? So we have no idea how this is going to turn out. We've never made carrot wine before. Have no idea even what carrot juice tastes like, other than probably like a carrot.
You've never had it before?
Not that I can think of. I've had a V8 that has carrot juice in it.
My mom used to have a juicer when I was growing up, and she did a lot of carrot juice. Yeah, it's good.
Mine did not do that.
It's sweet.
But we have never done this before, so we'll be learning together, and we'll find out together if it's good.
You do have the right amount, right?
We have 4 32-ounce jars of this. Exactly enough of this for 128 ounce or 1 gallon of.
And it does settle wine really bad, so I have to keep shaking it up.
Well, it'll settle in our.
That's true.
It will. Too. So we're gonna fill this up to 96 ounces, which is 3/4, so that we can figure out how much sugar we need to add.
This will be interesting.
I don't have any idea what ABV we want. These are not plastic, so I cannot throw these down for the corgis. And I just about shook this out of habit. I'm glad I did not.
I shook it prior. It's pre-shook. This one's pre-shook also.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My lovely assistant.
Should I start doing things like this too?
Okay, that is 96. This is not concentrate.
Just straight juice.
But we will be using our tool on craftywiners.com/tools, the calculate sugar to add to must. It's a stretch when it's carrot juice to call it must. But technically, I guess we're supposed to.
All right. It does have lemon juice in it. I do see that too.
Lemon juice won't mess us up. I didn't see any ingredients in there. It says that it's carrot juice and
lemon juice. That's it.
Lemon juice. And the lemon juice is just going to lower the pH a little bit.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
There's nothing that's going to keep us from fermenting it. They couldn't put anything in it that'll keep us from fermenting it. Because we're obstinate like that.
Yeah, we got E&W root beer to ferment. And that was a struggle.
That was a struggle. Okay, so our specific gravity, if you don't know about specific gravities, we have a video on it, is 1.036 specific gravity, not initial gravity.
Right.
In this case, it will be, since we're not adding water to concentrate, we'll indicate that on the tool.
Okay. Sorry, I had to write that down on the batch note before I forgot it. So 1.036.
And we are drinking tonight
Chenin Blanc with strawberry infused.
So this is one we made, as usually is the case.
So what do we want to shoot for on the ABV?
Well, I can't imagine that a carrot cider would be something that you'd want to drink. So I think one way or the other, this ends up being a wine.
Okay, so
we don't have any other carrot juice to add to it if we need to for flavor. So we may have to figure that part out as we go. If it loses the flavor during fermentation, which does happen a lot, it happens often.
We could let it not go all the way dry. So it would be a tiny bit sweet still.
We have a wedding that's coming up next weekend, and we are not going to be here for most of a week, so that's not going to happen. So I think that with all that taken into consideration, we go for a somewhat high ABV and just hope that it ends up being okay as a wine because it's not going to be a cider. So maybe 12%?
Okay.
11, 12%, whatever you think. We are using Fresco cider yeast, and it commonly goes ultra dry, so it may end up being a little higher than what we go for. Maybe 11 is a...
And I leave this at 100%, right? Because there's no water.
Yeah. Only time you
Yeah,
change that is if
vessel
you are
percentage
in the
full.
process of adding water to concentrate. That helps figure out what the specific gravity will be at the top when you've added all the water to fill it up to a gallon. But in this case, we're using 100% juice.
So, with a 12 ABV, it says to add 22 ounces of sugar.
Okay. I am not putting this back into my pitcher because we are going to put it into this for our pH and other things that we're going to be doing. So, how many ounces?
22.
Okay, so we have our 22 ounces of sugar, which is a lot of sugar. And
It
this is exactly why we fill up to 96 ounces instead of all the way up to the top of a gallon, so that we can add the sugar and not exceed our gallon, because it's fine for the primary fermenter is going to have some headroom. The secondary, if you want to call it a fermenter, the secondary vessel that this is going to go into after we rack the first time is going to have a capacity of a gallon. So at that point, if we had more than a gallon of this wine, we'd have to throw some out or drink it when it's not ready. So I'm going to put this in.
And we don't even know if we're going to want to drink it.
This may be terrible. When I have to put this much sugar in there, it always makes me question what's going on. Of course, this sugar does not become calories like sugar does in brownies. The sugar becomes alcohol. So you don't need to worry about your...
It's just alcohol calories.
Yeah. Which we have no problem with alcohol calories. Sugar calories, however, who wants that?
So no brownies with our carrot wine?
I don't...
It sounds kind of weird.
I might want ranch dressing with my carrot wine.
Ew.
So this means probably we will have a little bit of this left over, so I might be able to taste this when it's carrot juice to see, since I don't know what it tastes like. Okay, so now we are going to put pectic enzyme in here because this does have little pieces of carrot in it.
Yeah.
And the pectic enzyme might help break that down. We are using Go Firm like we normally do on most of our... I guess we're not using tannin.
No tannin. I just can't imagine carrot wine needs tannin.
So I'm going to check my pH, and as we are recording this, we have a brand new pH management video that is uploading. It will be released in a little over a week from when we're recording this. So we don't go into great detail about pH during the videos because we expect that you watch our pH video if you need training on that.
And it's very detailed.
It's an hour long.
Yep.
Our pH is 4.15. I honestly don't think we need to mess with it. We would normally take it down to 4, but it's so close to 4, I don't know that it's even worth
Messing with
it. The pH is going to naturally go down probably as it ferments. So we do want it to be done at about 3.8 in the really weird occasion that we decide to bottle this, which I don't expect either. So I'm going to rinse off my pH meter because we are done with it, and I'll be right back.
Okay, so I'm going to add half a teaspoon of pectic enzyme to here and stir it up. And then we're going to stir everything up. It smells weird.
I would imagine it does.
Doesn't smell like I would expect.
So if this does end up without a lot of flavor like I expect it will, I guess we could food process some carrots to get some juice to add if we really want it to taste like carrot juice. We could add tomato juice to it.
What are we trying to make, V8 wine? Let's get some celery too while we're at it.
There we go.
Celery juice. Be a really healthy wine.
So we're going to use our pumpkin gutter to stir this up really good while it's still not quite full, since not as much is going to splash out. And I have a lot of sugar to mix up. Okay, now we will fill this up to 128 ounces.
A little bit left in that one.
And I will stir it again a little bit more. Doesn't need to be quite as much as the last time. The yeast likes oxygen, so for fermentation, it's good to have some oxygen in there, so you can be pretty aggressive with the pumpkin gutter or your spoon if that's what you're choosing to use. This didn't foam. A lot of the stuff we do ends up having half an inch or more of foam at the top, but this stuff didn't foam. So this was a very quick start to hopefully a really good wine, but we'll see. I'm going to put a 1/4 cup of this in our measuring cup.
And we're going to take the initial gravity.
Yes, we are.
And see if it matches this number over here.
I'm going to say it's 1.092.
That's close. This is 1.091, so.
That would have been my second guess. It's kind of right in between. So that's our initial gravity. That's how we're going to determine what the final alcohol percentage is in this. So what we are going to do now
is heat this up a little bit in the microwave.
A lot of times we'll just put it next to a heater. We have a little heater that we keep for occasions like this.
And before we had the heater, we would put it in our hot water heater room, and that worked too. But for the interest of time, I'm going to heat it up for about 8 seconds in the microwave, and I will be back. So, correction, it was actually about 12 seconds. Carrot juice must not like to heat up. Well, hello. Did you need something? Yeah, you needed
Carrot
something?
Juice.
Yeah?
These are Pippin and Nori, our 2 corgis, if you haven't watched their videos before.
Yeah, I'll give you a treat later. Yeah.
Is that what she's expecting now?
I-
Because last filming she got a treat.
Yes, she did.
Everything that we're using here has been sanitized, and we have a video that talks about sanitization.
Yep. And I am, I got the right one this time. I'm going to use this 1 teaspoon instead of the ½ teaspoon that I've been using to put 2 teaspoons of Gopher.
If you don't have Go Firm, it's fine. You can get away without it. We just use it because it makes everything go smoother and faster.
It does. Okay.
I am going to transfer all of this from our pitcher into a carboy, which is where this is going to live for the next couple of weeks at least. This will, I'm expecting, separate into layers very quickly after it starts fermenting.
Yeah.
It'll probably look a little bit funky, but it'll be fine. It'll clear up and be very clear by the time we're done with this entire process. All the what is particulate right now most likely will all be gone by the time we're done.
We think.
We're open.
So I'm going to put in a teaspoon of this yeast. We're using Fresco cider yeast for this.
Fresco cider yeast is good at preserving fruit flavors. It also is good at lower temperature fermenting. And our fermenting room is once again 55 degrees. It went through a spell where we couldn't figure out why it wouldn't keep cool, but it's been figured out.
It's kind of getting itself dumped.
So we are going to put the carboy with the must and this with the Go Firm and the yeast next to our heater for about 2 hours. They're going to get to be about the same temperature. And this yeast is going to hopefully go nuts and start foaming and doing all kinds of interesting looking things. At the end of that 2 hours, we'll pour this back into our carboy, and we will put this blow-off tube into the top of the bung. You don't need to use a blow-off tube. You can use a traditional airlock, but odds are this is going to foam. And because we went to the 1 gallon mark, it is probably going to overflow. So this allows it to overflow. The other end of this goes into the bucket of star sand that we're using today. So the liquid can go into the star sand, but nothing can go through the star sand and up through the tube to get into our wine. So it's an airlock. And about 5 days after today, I am going to degas this. You can either degas it by using a spoon or rocking or There are other ways that you can Google for degassing. We use a food saver to degas, and we have a video on that you can watch. After that, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of Fermento, and that will give it the nutrients that it needs to go forward on the fermentation after, again, 5 days. If it's a red wine that we do at a warmer temperature than 55 degrees, I would do it on the 3rd day. But white wines that are at 55 degrees, we do it on the 5th day.
Or carrot wines.
Carrot wine in this case. It may be white. It's orange, I guess.
Well, we will find out.
If the fermentation is still going on the 14th day, I'll give it another 1/4 teaspoon of Fermento. Most of the time, though, we'll find that I'll take the specific gravity before I do that, and I'll see that it's almost done. It's less than 1.01 or so, and at that point, I don't want to give it any more nutrients because it's going to finish by itself. We will not be back on camera until this is finished fermenting.
Which we have no idea how long that's going to be.
We don't at this point. I'm guessing it's going to be probably 3 to 4 weeks. So we will see you then. Okay, so we are back. This is done. It's a very weird looking color, and it's got a lot of sediment.
So we started this on the 8th, and it's the 23rd, and I can't do math right now.
Use the, as far as the number of days?
Yeah.
I'll put it up on the screen. So we are going to get our ABV using our tool on craftywiners.com/tools.
Let me go back there.
Our initial gravity was 1.092.
And the
Our final gravity was 0.994. It went pretty dry.
Yeah, it did. The complex method takes it to almost 13%.
That's about right. Can you write that on here? Because I don't have a pencil.
Yes, I can.
So on the 7th day, because again, our fermenting room is back to being 55 degrees. So without a heater to heat this up to being warmer, it's a very slow fermentation, and we like that for most of our white wines. In fact, we like that.
Can you really call that white?
We like that for all of our white wines. Anything that's not a red wine, red grape wine, we do at 55 degrees.
How about orange wines?
I don't have a rule for that right now. But so on the 7th day, I used our food saver for 3 minutes on this to take out all the CO2 that it can in 3 minutes. Then I added a teaspoon of Fermento, which just helps that fermentation go to the next section. And then I use an aeration wand to put in oxygen for 3 minutes. And I will link a video that shows you how we use all of those things, and it has links to the actual devices that we use. But that is part of the reason this went dry. And honestly, it is very, very rare that we have anything stalled using these methods. So if you have problems with stalling, there's some pointers for you. So now we are ready to rack this. Racking, if you're new to this, is the process of moving the now wine, and that's really in quotation marks because this is carrot juice. And by the way, we have no idea how this tastes. We've never done this before, and we haven't tasted it yet. And I wouldn't lie to you about that. So
we are going to taste it, though.
We're going to taste it very shortly. And I do have some juice left, the original juice, thank God, because they were this grocery store, as we said, I think earlier in the video, was clearing it out, and we should have bought one more bottle than we did, one more jar, but we didn't.
I don't think there was.
We may never
we bought the last of
see it again. Makes sense that we got the last of it. This was now 8 months ago that this happened, that we bought this. It's been sitting around for a while. So the goal of this is to use this auto siphon to get as much of this wine out of here without getting any, in a perfect world, of the least, which is the sediment down at the bottom.
That's a big layer of it.
There is a lot of this, so we're going to end up with quite a bit less than a gallon, I can tell you. So we're going to get started on this. We're not going to talk during this process so we can speed it along, and Julie's not going to blink very much. Okay, so at the end, I'm going to tip it to try to get as much of the wine out as I can. Again, I'm trying to keep this above the sediment layer. And in a minute, this is going to start making a sucking noise, and it will stop. And I'm going to have to be happy with the level that we're at that point. This is very, very thin, fine sediment, and it stirs up really easy and mixes into the wine, and I don't want that to happen. This looks like the landscape of Mars in the carboy, which is ironic because we said it looks like Tang.
It does.
Which I think was developed by NASA, right? And we're thinking now it might be carrot juice. Tang.
They wouldn't spend the money on carrot juice to make Tang.
So there is a lot of wasted juice that has got too much sediment in it. So we lost some, and that's always unfortunate. But we don't want that sediment. So I'm going to clean this up. I will mention we are going to do some experimenting with filtering systems. So if you are somebody that knows a lot about filtering systems, leave a comment below and tell us what you're using, because we're going to start researching that and do a video on that soon. It would be nice to be able to recover this full inch.
Yeah.
And there's not a full inch of juice, but there's a lot of juice in that full inch of juice release. Okay, so the moment we've been
dreading.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
We have no idea, and this is high enough ABV that I can pretty much guarantee we're going to be able to taste the alcohol.
Yeah, probably.
We're drinking Chenin Blanc right now, which is also fairly high alcohol, but I bet you we'll taste more alcohol in this. I don't know how much you want to have to drink, so there's not much there.
Did you smell this before? Smell that. What does it remind you of? Something we were just something we were just dealing with earlier. The huckleberry cider. It smells like it.
Maybe. Or maybe you still have huckleberry cider stuck to your nose or something.
It doesn't taste like huckleberry cider.
Well, you didn't make. Well,
I don't know.
Maybe you did make a face, maybe. Oh wow. Okay, so it has flavor.
I can't really explain that taste. It's interesting. I think it could definitely use some more juice, though.
Generally speaking, when something ferments, it loses the fruit flavor. Doesn't really matter what yeast you use or anything else. So grape just starts with enough flavor that it still has desirable flavor at the end. A lot of these other ones we've learned that you want to add the original juice back in. It's not wonderful. It's not terrible. It has there's a lot of alcohol in it. So one of the reasons that we wanted to taste it right there is we wanted to determine if we're going to add anything with sugar into it.
And we are.
And we're going to have to do that. We do have juice, as I said earlier, and that's nice because we have some headroom we need to fill. You don't want to have an inch and a half of room at the top of your vessel that you're going to age this in. So, first thing we need to do, I'll let you take over actually on that.
First thing we need to do is the first step of the clarifiers, which is chiasosol.
Yeah, we should be able to make this a whole lot less orange.
Oh, yeah. And if we did suck up any of that sediment at the bottom, it will help that too.
So chiasosol and chitosan, stop me if you've heard this before. Chiasosol will take out the negatively charged particles that are in this, and then its counterpart is chitosan, which take out the positive particles. If you put these in at exactly the same time, they can work against each other. So we give the chiasosol time to work by itself. Usually an hour or more, if we're not doing this on camera. However, we're doing this on camera, and we're already 2 hours into our filming evening, so we're not going to give this the full 2 hours. We're okay with it not being as clear as it can be in this particular case because this is carrot wine. And I don't think anybody could call us out on having non-clear carrot wine.
Oh, there'll be that one person.
His name's John. So, we will give this a few minutes, and then we are going to add our Cheeto Sand bentonite. And because of the fact that we're going to add the original juice back in,
which has sugar.
We need to make sure that the yeast that's in here can't start fermenting again when we add that sugar into it. So because of that, we're going to add potassium sorbate and potassium metabisulfite, which will basically sterilize this yeast so that it doesn't kill them. It just makes it so that it's a lot harder for them to reproduce and start fermenting again. Okay, so we gave this a little bit of time. I'm going to take a sample back out.
So I can mix the rest of this stuff in it.
It didn't have very much time to work because we're on a schedule here. So she's going to add the Cheeto Sand, 1 teaspoon of that. And that again is the counterpart to the Casasol. It helps clarify. We will end up having to rack this again because the Casasol and the Cheeto Sand and to some extent, I guess, the potassium metabisulfite and the bentonite, all of those will help clear particles to the bottom. And so there'll be sediment at the bottom again that we're going to need to rack off. Unless you're okay with there being, sediment in your wine, which I don't think you are.
I'm not. We'll put all the measurements up on the screen for you of all this stuff because there's a ton of them, as you can see. Then I'm going to stir this up with the implement that I don't have.
Oh, whisk.
The mini whisk. I put it in the sanitizer bucket, so I'm going to have to go grab that.
This is the second video of 3 that we're recording tonight, so sometimes we get a little disorganized.
If you didn't believe me, my hand is wet from grabbing it out of the sanitizer bucket. I'll mix that up.
It was a while ago that we recorded the first part, but in case we didn't mention it, everything has been sanitized in Star Sand, including our hands.
Doubly now. Other than the bentonite, everything is mixed up very well. See if I can stir as I pour to get it all out. Oh, pretty good.
Okay, even though she stirred it in the measuring cup, I'm stirring it well again to get it thoroughly incorporated. So we're not in a situation where we can come back and do another segment on this tomorrow because of our filming schedule. What you need to do if you're going to back sweeten this, and I don't know that anybody is going to ever make this again. We may be the only ones that ever make wine out of organic carrot juice. But hey, we're not done with this yet. It may turn out that it's going to be very good, but
we'll find out.
Regardless, we are going to add the remainder of the carrot juice that we have that was not fermented back into this to give it some more flavor. And we might end up putting some sweetener in it, although the sweetener will probably be allulose, which won't ferment. But you have to give the potassium sorbate and the potassium metabisulfite, you need to give it 24 hours to stop the yeast that's in here from being able to reproduce. If you don't do that, and if you immediately put juice in, like what we're going to do, there's a very good chance your fermentation will start back up again.
So what you're saying, don't do what we're going to do.
Don't do what I'm going to show you right now. But we aren't in a position where we can come back tomorrow night and show the end. So we're going to show you the end now. And
we are going to keep it in the fridge.
I'll do the fade transition that I do to show that time has passed so that you think that time has passed. But we're wearing the same clothes when we come back, so I think you'll see through our facade. But yeah, these need to have, it's best to give these 24 hours before you add something that can ferment. After you add these, wait 24 hours before you add something that can ferment to make sure that the fermentation doesn't start back up again. We're not going to do that because of our schedule. So we never have tasted this juice, and in fact, I want to do it right now so that we know what kind of flavor
we didn't we taste it when we?
No, I said that I was going to. But then I never did. So we don't know what this tasted like before.
Okay.
Regardless, we're going to put the full jar in there, however much is going to fit. But let's see what it tastes like. So we kind of know what we're looking for in a taste.
Oh, that's not what I expected at all. I swear, my mom used to juice carrots, and I thought they were sweeter than that. And maybe they are if you do your own carrots at home in a juicer.
I don't mind that, but it's the sweet is kind of weird.
But it's not really
So-
sweet. That's what I was expecting. It was going to be sweeter.
Here's my fade transition. It's been 24 hours after you put the potassiums in. Now I'm putting my juice in. And I'm just going to pour it all in until I can't pour anymore because it's not going to hurt it. We will keep the conditions if we choose to drink this. We will make sure that this stays in the refrigerator where it will not start fermenting. And that is a valid strategy for keeping something from fermenting. If you are going to keep control of it and not give it to somebody that might put it in their garage where it becomes a bottle bomb.
Yeah.
There is a lot of CO2 in this too,
It's bubbling.
as I'm stirring. That if you were gonna ever look to bottle this, you want to get rid of the CO2 by either stirring for a long time, meaning like
A long time.
20 to 30 minutes until you can't see the bubbling in here anymore, or use a food saver, which is what I would do. Or you can let it naturally seep out by letting it sit for a month or 2 or 3. I'm not sure what we're going to do, but
I don't know either.
at any rate, it's not going into a bottle tonight. So, okay, let's see what that did to the flavor. Sorry.
Yep. Well, I changed it. Can't really say if I love it or not.
It's better.
Do we have any carrot extract we could put in this?
Fresh out of carrot extract.
We got every other kind of extract.
So I think some allulose or sugar would make this better.
It might need quite a bit of allulose. Honestly.
So the question becomes, do we want to waste, potentially, the fairly expensive allulose on this, or just as this finish to this experiment, should we give it some sugar?
Real sugar. Well, it's a lot cheaper.
I mean, it's half drinkable now. It went from being just barely tolerable, maybe, to...
I wonder what would happen if you carbonated it.
At this taste?
It'd be like one of those sour beers. It's kind of what it would taste like, I think.
You've got a point.
I don't know if I like it that sour. I'm not a real fan of the sours that are super popular right now.
It's not nearly as sweet as the juice. In fact, it's really hard to detect the sweet at all, where this was almost too sweet, in my opinion. But, so, another weird thing that I joked about, I think, last night when we were talking about this. What if we put a little bit of Tabasco in it, and then carbonated it?
Tabasco?
It's carrot. So when I think of carrot, what's the first thing? What's tomato and carrot?
V8.
It's V8. And I like spicy V8.
Oh, we could just combine this with our tomato wine that we just did.
Like V8 wine. I don't know. The Tabasco may not be a good idea, but it's an option. I don't know. We can try carbonating this and see.
I think it probably needs a little sugar before we carbonate it, though. Because the carbonation generally takes the sweetness down a little bit.
Okay, well, let's give it some sugar. So are we going to come back and show how this ended up carbonated? I guess we will.
All right, let's give this a shot.
So we decided, after vigorous debate, that we are going to put 2 teaspoons in at one time to see what it does. That was down from 1 tablespoon, which seemed, when you see a tablespoon, that seems like a lot of sugar. We don't want this sweet. We just want it
Not sour.
Sweeter.
Sweeter.
We also would probably need to check our pH here before, if we were going to bottle it. But there's 1 teaspoon,
Oh yeah,
2 teaspoons.
well, guess what I just got rid of?
Your
My mini whisk again.
You get the lazy corgis to do something while I'm stirring.
I don't know, they were all energetic.
They wore
earlier.
themselves out.
Can you sit pretty? Or stand? Or whatever you want to do there? Oh, you are expecting something. I guess I better give you a treat. Give you a treat? Huh? If I could get it open? Hey, no. Okay. Roll over. Good girl. Okay, roll over. Roll over. Roll over. Fail, but I'll give you a treat anyway.
So if we carbonate this, we don't need to worry as much about the CO2
That's true.
because we're just putting CO2 in it. There are other gases that might have other flavors other than CO2 that are in this right now, so you still probably want to degas it a little bit. But what do we call this if we carbonate it? Is it sparkling carrot wine or is it carrot cider?
It definitely needs more. I don't know. I could naturally carbonate it in a bottle and call it sparkling carrot wine.
Okay, so another 2 teaspoons. So yeah, I guess a tablespoon would have been fine.
I told you.
You did.
They're both sitting, watching, waiting for something else.
Won't be anything else until the next video, at least.
Okay. Let's see. What do you think?
I don't think 2 more teaspoons is going to hurt it.
That's what I was
But I
thinking
can
too.
also see that if you're going to consider this to taste more like a beer, it's not too far off right now. Carrot beer. It's not, I don't think you can call it beer.
No, you can't.
But you can prepare people that it's going to taste kind of like a beer before they drink it. So you don't want it to. I think being too sweet could ruin it.
I think it's
but it might not.
carrot IPA.
It's also, it's not 13% anymore because we diluted it a little by adding the juice. But
Yeah, we
it's
did.
not too far off of that. So
A little stronger than beer normally is.
that was 6 teaspoons.
Okay, I can see something there. It may be just in my head because I'm thinking about huckleberry, but there is something about it that reminds me of the huckleberry cider.
It's got alcohol in it.
Well, duh. I think that's interesting.
So carbonate it.
Yeah.
Try to work that in, stir it a little bit more.
It's not going to hurt anything to carbonate it.
Okay, well, you heard her. We will carbonate it, and I guess come back on camera after we've done that, which probably won't be anytime real soon. We will actually put it in the refrigerator. Our refrigerator is turned down to about 34 degrees. We'll put it in there and let this cold crash before we carbonate it, so it will have a different color for sure the next time you see it, because
Yeah.
we're not going to come back on after the cold crash and before we carbonate it. We'll just show it to you after we have done both. And we will go from there. We got to figure out what we're gonna call this.
I have no idea.
Carrot cocktail, carbonated carrot cocktail. C3.
Three C's, 3C,
I don't know
C3.
what we're gonna call it. We'll figure it out. Okay, so what we ended up doing is we split the 1 gallon into 2 half gallons. In one of the half gallons, we ended up just sweetening it.
Yeah, with 2 teaspoons of sugar. Oh no,
Total.
4 total teaspoons of sugar.
So if you're going to do this and you're doing it in a gallon, double that. So it would be 4 teaspoons of sugar if you want to do exactly what we did.
Or you could make it sweeter. We used actually real sugar in this, right?
We did
Not
it,
allulose.
Yeah, we didn't really want to waste the allulose because we weren't sure how this was going to end up tasting.
We're still not entirely sure. We're going to find out.
The other one, when Julie tasted it, she said that she could taste a hint of jalapeno. So we said, oh, why don't we make that more than a hint? So we put jalapeno extract in the second one as well as sugar.
Yeah.
A little bit less sugar.
Just 1 teaspoon of sugar and then 1¼ teaspoons of the jalapeno extract.
Yeah, and I'll link that below, the one that we used. It's Brewer's Best, I believe, jalapeno extract.
We have used that jalapeno extract in several ciders. Peach was one of my favorites.
But again, double that if you're going to try to follow our recipe exactly. And we don't know how this tastes yet.
Gonna find out.
So this
Which one's
one is, this is the jalapeno one, and this is the non. Why don't we do the non first because it's
Okay.
going to be less flavorful.
See if I can actually operate this thing.
We did use some regular bottles for some of this, but this cut all the overflow.
It's got nice carbonation. That part turned out good.
This was forced carbonated after we made the additions.
I guess we can just share this glass. Use one for each.
Go ahead. So this one is just going to be a little bit sweeter than what we had last time, and it's carbonated.
It'll definitely taste better carbonated. And the sweeter is good. It was kind of weird when it was still.
Yeah, well, I expect it's still a little weird.
Well, it's really like nothing I've ever tasted before, so it's hard to explain. There is a carroty aftertaste, but it's not really upfront.
Yeah, it's not real strong. It's actually fairly pleasant. I mean, it doesn't taste like she said, like anything I've tasted before.
Yeah, it's unique.
It's good. I would drink it. We will drink this.
What can we call this? It's not really a cider, because it's not made out of apple or pear.
Well,
technically.
cider has kind of gotten looser, but
I know
maybe a carrot seltzer.
Well, Truly doesn't make those.
There's a little tiny bit of an earthy taste.
I think that's the carrot.
That you hit up front, and then you can tell it's carrot a couple seconds later.
It's not bad.
I don't mind it. We'll drink it. And you'll be the only one on your block that has
carrot cider or carrot seltzer.
You want to finish it or?
No, it's fine. You can. I'm curious about the jalapeno.
So this one will be like that, but spicy.
And probably a little less sweet.
That
Yeah.
sounds like nice carbonation as well.
The bottle
you
held
can
its carbonation pretty good.
You can watch our video on forced carbonation to see how we did this. This was carbonated at 32 psi for 45 minutes. And then it sat in a cold fridge overnight.
I smell the jalapeno. Actually, it's kind of burning my nose a little bit. Sorry, I had to go back for a second. Yep. It's definitely got some spice to it. It's good.
Yeah, it's got the same earthy up front. And then the carrot. And then the jalapeno. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Which one do you like better?
The jalapeno.
I think I do too.
Not by a lot. The other one's good too. So if you don't like the spicy, then you would like the other. That's pretty good. You done?
Yeah.
So if you
That's
want something very unique to show off to your friends, this is definitely gonna take the cake.
It's a conversation starter, for sure.
So you probably won't find the juice that we used. You might, maybe. Like I said, much earlier, a couple weeks ago, the that was Albertsons, I believe, that had that,
They were clearing
and
it
they were
out.
clearing it out, so they were getting rid of it. I don't know if that's a hint of what other stores were doing too, but
Well, you could make
you
your own
could
carrot juice
you
too.
could yeah you could use a food processor and do it, make the juice yourself.
Yeah.
It looks like that is pretty much what this was. I mean, it was just
Yeah.
very pureed carrot. And you would need a gallon of it. We didn't water this down at all, so. But yeah, that was, I'll say that was a success.
I think it was one of our better experiments that we've done.
We have thrown stuff out, truth be told. I know
Yes.
some people brag about never throwing stuff out, but there were some soda pop Franken wines that we did that went down the drain because there was just nothing that you could do to
The
salvage
Dr.
them.
Pepper one? No. I
Or they
couldn't
just
do it.
weren't really worth drinking. So,
But this one is not one of those.
We
So
will drink. This is a Labor Day weekend, and I bet
yeah.
you this will be gone by the end of the weekend. So
should be. So anyway, that is the conclusion, finally, of our carrot
4-part.
Of our-
This became a 4-part video for
our
us.
carrot experience.
4-session video, which is very long for us.
Yes, it is. So anyway, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and have a great day. Until next time, cheers.